How the Mind Works, Part 2. In the last video, we talked about the first two truths or principles of how the mind works. Once you understand all these principles, you can understand and benefit from mindfulness. The first truth is you can only have a dominant focus on one thing at a time. The second truth is you are always free to think anything you choose. Now for truth number 3. You can only directly experience this moment right here, right now. Let's continue our discussion of these principles of the mind with some important questions. They may seem a little simplistic. I will ask them anyway because knowing the right answers will help immensely to understand what it means to be mindful. Where are you right now? Where is the only place you can directly experience? The only correct answer to this question, and it is the same answer every moment of your life, is here. You cannot be anywhere else but here. Certainly you can think you're in other places, or you can simply think about other places, but you can't directly experience any of those other places that aren't where you are. Where are you not? Everywhere else. Anywhere else. You can't directly experience any place where your senses can't directly observe. You can't be at the store while you're driving to the store. While you're driving to the store, your here is in the car. But you can't directly experience the store until you're at the store. You can only directly experience where you are. I know this sounds strange, but hang in there. This will all make perfect sense in a moment. The next couple of questions are similar to the previous ones. At what point in time are you always? When is the only time that you can directly experience? The only correct answer to this question, and it is always the same answer, is now. You can't be in your own future, nor can you be in your own past. Certainly you can think of these times, you can make up all kinds of things about the future and the past, but you can never directly experience them. Imagine how cool it would be if I could experience my own future. I'd transport myself to 1 year from now, find out which stock has done the best between now and then, come back to now, and buy a truckload of that stock. If I could relive a past event, I would go back to a decision I made that didn't turn out so well and make a different decision so things would turn out better. Those both sound absurd because you and I cannot directly experience the future or the past. Nobody can. We are all stuck firmly in this moment called right now. There is never a time for you, me, and everyone else when it is not right here, right now for us. This is our reality. It is what is. Always. All the confusion clears up when we realize that there is only one time and that time is now. If you are willing to experience the truth that it is right now, your problems about the past and future will clear up. Why? Because there is no past or future. There is only right now. If you are stuck in what you call the past, you are stuck right now. If you spend your time daydreaming about the future, you do that process right now. You can't even go to these places called the past and the future. They are not real. Here and now is a stress-free place. The next principle of the mind suggests that your here and now is a safe and stress-free place. There is no stress in this present moment, except for very rare occasions, less than 1% of the time. How could that be possible if stress seems to be such a constant concern in life? Let's return to an idea in previous videos regarding the stress response. Remember that the stress response is designed to keep us safe in the presence of physical danger. Recall also that you're in physical danger less than 1% of the time. So the rest of the time, you're safe. By the way, here's another interesting idea. You can only be in physical danger right now. If you take the time to really examine your thoughts that lead to activation of the stress response, they are focused on either the past or the future. Examples of future or past threat thoughts. You stress about the upcoming speech that you have to give in front of a group of people. Future. You relive in your mind the argument you had with someone earlier in the day. Past. You feel anxious about calling the person who owes you money. Future. You feel embarrassed because you said something to some acquaintances that you think they took the wrong way. Past. These future and past thoughts send a message to your hypothalamus, endocrine system, and nervous system to activate the stress response if there happens to be any threat thoughts among those future and past thoughts. But none of those false emergencies are happening right now. What is happening right now is almost always free from any danger or any real threat. This brings us to the final mindfulness principle. Notice the synergy. Once you understand that you are always free to choose any thought, that you can only think about one thing at a time, that here and now is your only reality, and that here and now is a safe place, you come to the final mindfulness principle that pulls each of these together. When you choose to focus on here and now, you get relaxation. Since you can only focus on one thing, and what you focus on is safe or threat-free, your body-mind will recognize the safety and not turn on the stress response. In class, I ask my students about the upcoming tests they'll be taking. I ask them if the tests are stressful. They respond that they definitely are. If we analyze this accurately, however, we see how the tests themselves have nothing to do with the stress. Which part of taking a test is threatening? Remember that stress is the body's response to prepare for or deal with a physical threat. So is it the part when you walk into the room where you will take the test? How about when you put the pen in your hand and begin reading the questions on the test? Are you somehow in danger while you read the words on the page? Does the real danger occur when you write stuff on the paper with your pen? Yeah, that must be the threatening part. Is it when you pick up your paper, walk over to the desk where all the other tests are stacked, and you lay yours on top? That must be the dangerous place. At no time during the entire 2 hours of test taking were you in any sort of danger. Why then would you feel stress? Stress happens when your thoughts project into your future or past, and those thoughts include pain of any kind. Remember the uh-oh or I'm in danger thoughts. These are almost always thoughts about the future and the past. These kinds of thoughts are what cause the stress response to turn on. As I have mentioned several times, it is rarely, if ever, the current experience or event that causes the threat. As another example, let's return to our player shooting a foul shot that I mentioned earlier. Let's say you are the coach of a basketball team. Your team is ahead by 1 point, and there are 2 seconds left in the game. One of the other team's players is at the foul line getting ready to shoot 2 shots. If you are a wise coach, what do you do in this situation? The obvious answer is you call a timeout. But why would you do this? You call a timeout because you want to make the player think about the shots. What you're really hoping the player thinks about are all the painful consequences of missing the shot. The team will lose, people will be disappointed in him, the team won't make it to the playoffs, etc. If he thinks of these painful consequences that will certainly happen in his future, he will unintentionally but automatically turn on the stress response. When that happens, many of his muscles will tighten up or contract, causing him to shoot the ball differently than he normally would. He is much more likely to miss the shots. Present moment. If he were shooting foul shots in his driveway at home, he could probably sink 100 shots in a row, because the only thing he is thinking about while playing at home is how much fun he is having in the present moment. Future thoughts. However, during the timeout, when he is thinking of all of the pain associated with missing the shot and losing the game, he tightens up or freezes. and is less likely to sink the shot. Again, thoughts that focus on the future have a likelihood of turning on the stress response. Thoughts that focus on the experiences of the present do not. Whenever your thoughts do not focus directly on what is happening in the present moment, you increase the possibility of turning on the stress response. When you turn your focus to what is happening in the present moment, the stress response turns off automatically. Are you starting to sense how powerful this can be for you? Wouldn't it be better to live each moment peacefully rather than stressfully? Once you get the hang of this and start applying it to all of your moments, the peaceful feeling that follows becomes addicting. There are several steps that automatically bring your mind back to your here and now. They involve thinking about things in a certain way, a different way, that doesn't involve thoughts about the future or the past. But first, let's get a good handle on what it means to be mindful.